So the Kid Mero's fiery response to DJ Akademiks calling him a DEI hire highlights a deep-seated ideological rift in hip-hop media between those who aim to build and preserve the culture and those accused of exploitative gossip for financial gain. Now, the Kid Mero had like a 4-minute long, at least the video I saw was like a 4+ minute rant of him just going off on Akademiks. We're going to watch a portion of this here, and then we'll talk about it a little bit further.
But there's a lot of sons out there that are not mine. You know what I'm saying? I don't claim you. You're not on my taxes. You're not a dependent, bro, but you depend on me to survive. You don't make nothing. You don't do nothing. You don't add nothing. You are net negative to hip-hop culture. You are net negative to society, gang. You know what I'm saying? You a page 6 in the flesh. You a diabetic page out of the New York Post.
Damn.
You fat hamster. You a one-trick pony. You know how to do one thing, and that's exploit poverty, misery, and violence for your own monetary gain. And not all money is good money, but I'm good, daddy. You know what I'm saying?
I love how they put shook ones on.
I know. I'm gonna have to like cut shook ones out as well at the same time.
New Yorkers love to say daddy.
Daddy.
I like how you do that, Daddy.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
So does Mero dedicating a segment to this quote unquote war of words validate Akademiks' influence? Or is it a necessary defense of the professional integrity of hip-hop institutions like Hot 97?
A little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both, man.
Yeah.
You can't deny Akademiks' influence. You know what I mean? It's just he caters to a certain segment and a certain demographic of hip-hop. You know, and quiet as kept, DJ Akademiks is part of the manosphere.
He is.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a red pill.
No,
he goes up there and hangs out with
He don't got friends.
somebody whose name is not Myron Gaines and his little buddy.
yeah.
Fresh and fit.
Yeah,
I can't stand them dudes.
yeah. Like I said, his name is not Myron Gaines. So you know,
God bless, man.
like I said, he came over here and got himself a slave name voluntarily.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think it would be kind of foolish to try to say that he doesn't have influence, because he does have influence. I think they're kind of in two different ballparks. I think whenever Akademiks crosses over into the institution of hip hop, whatever that is, then that's when he should be questioned on a regular basis.
I think one of the things that he said, man, that was stung for me was like, you know, when I interview people, it's people like Denzel, Barack Obama, et cetera, et cetera. When you interview someone, it's like 6ix9ine at his house or
Did
something
he say
like
it was
that.
like on like drugs or something?
Yeah. Said, well,
Kanye West in a KKK outfit.
yeah, well, you know, hey.
I don't know, Jay or Terry, what do you guys think?
Well, I can't say he doesn't have influence just because I don't partake in any of his shenanigans, you know, but once again, I say it proudly, I'm knocking on 50.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to watch DJ Akademiks.
Come on, man.
Is he on Twitch or Kick or
Is it?
YouTube.
Is he on?
Is
Oh, so
it-
he's on YouTube now?
I mean, I see clips of what he does sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, throughout the various, social media platforms that I do partake in. But like, if I can't see myself ever saying, okay, it's 8:00 or whatever time he comes on and start talking shit. Like, let me see what DJ Akademiks has to say about this. I've never thought that.
I'll check in from time to time.
Okay.
It's just if it's something that interests me. But just because sometimes he makes me laugh. You know, he is kind of funny to me.
Okay.
He's not somebody that our demographic goes to for influence, so to speak.
And also when people say, like, this is the thing that we really need to check as a word in this culture is the whole idea of being an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you influencing people to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you influencing people to think or have discussions about? Like, I think that's something like, are you just an influencer because you want to sell things that make your ass look better? in a dress or a pair of jeans, okay, I guess maybe that you are an influencer. But I think
everybody wants to be an influencer.
You know, are you influencing people to drink more liquor or smoke hookah or whatever? Like, if that's what you, but you know, we can't. Being an influencer isn't in itself just something that's positive.
No, I think
that's
what people leave out too, is that somebody can be a bad influence. You're still an influence on people that whose brain maybe hasn't fully developed. You know what I'm saying?
And I
because
think that's
more so who looks up or looks at academics
that's
as
more
a
his
source.
target demographic.
Yeah.
So people who, you know, are still trying to develop their frontal lobe, like those are the people who I feel like are influenced by these quote unquote influencers, and that's doing more damage to society than it's influencing people to do better in society.
And I think that's why it should be addressed by a Mero, because regardless of how we feel about how academics come across to us and whether we pay attention to what he says, there's still a huge factor of people that look at academics for whatever news he decides to give you. And it's kind of like the elephant in the room. At this point, you can't just say it doesn't exist because you don't rock with it. It's still out there.
Because even if you feel he's a net negative, you're talking about him. So somewhere along the way, he's created enough, you know,
Cachet.
Cachet within the culture or the anti-culture, maybe if you will.
Space.
Then that
it should be addressed.
That you're talking about him on Hot 97, which is a radio station in the biggest media market in the country.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I mean, whether we feel a way about it or not, you know, it's academics.
I keep coming back to something Curtis King said a few months ago, where he's just like, you know, there has to be a counter voice to the voice out there.
Exactly.
You know, regardless of, you know, sometimes the net negative, if you will, is louder than everything else. And if you just write it off as being like, that's stupid, I'm not going to talk about it, and then you don't become that negative or the counter voice to that, sometimes is our responsibility even to say things, you know, to have those conversations, then it just exists.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
negative always gets shine. Like, even if you have a job, whenever you're doing a good job at what you're doing, there might be a slight little, okay, good job, you know what I'm saying? But as soon as you do something that's wrong, it's highlighted bigger than what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even on the net, when somebody does something positive, like the conversation we just had about Jay, we don't know a whole lot of the positive things that he's done. But we know every time something negative hops in the news feed that somebody's created on their own, it's always at the forefront.
Yeah.
And it's talked about in the culture. And somebody like Akademiks thrives on those negative moments. He doesn't talk about positivity like at all. We even see it locally with the local news source, Black Indie Live. How they always address the negativity a whole lot, because that's what gets the clicks. That's what they feed on. They're like the Naptown version of an Akademiks. I'm going to feed all the negativity, and unfortunately, people like negativity. That's what they want to talk about. That's what they want to debate. When something good happens, something good just happened, but we're not going to address that.
I think part of it's like the idiocracy effect.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of it, it's kind of like, well, these two people here, they're reasonably intelligent. They're doing things with their life, and they're just waiting for the right time to have kids. Well, these people over here are just kind of like, hey, you know, this guy's sleeping with his neighbor and everything else, and he's got kids and not educated and all this other stuff, and it's just whatever, right? Sometimes I feel like the negative media has the same effect, where we can look at this stuff like, all right, from a perspective of, all right, I don't want to contribute. I don't even want to give this light.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to give it light, because I feel like if I give it light, then it's bringing more to it. But sometimes when you remove your voice from that situation, it just gives more of the other voice to just live and to thrive. And so there's nothing counter to it at all.
To continue to drown out the positive
It's
or the
easy.
other, you know what I'm saying, other side.
Yeah, it's so easy to hey, don't say nothing negative, just focus on the positive. Well, sometimes it's important to focus on the negative and to highlight the negative.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I didn't always think that way. You know, I for a long time, I kind of subscribed to the idea of like, you know, it's none of my business. Let me just keep it moving.
Hey, man, the Batman needed the Joker to be the Batman.
Hey, it's very true.
Yeah, but you could say that without the Joker
And society.
but you know what? That goes back to our billionaire
It does.
conversation, because quite honestly,
That was a superpower.
Because let's just think about this. Had maybe Wayne Technology or whatever the company was, it was not paying their fair share of taxes, and that's why there were so many mentally unstable people running around Gotham City.
Yeah,
because there weren't the proper resources to help these people.
Right.
So that's where all the crime came from.
I mean, Batman's superpower is money, so let's just keep that out there.
Yeah.
So is Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but at least Iron Man, like, he was like an engineer. He could create things.
Bruce Wayne was just a CEO.
Batman just had enough.
He inherited
He
that
just
money.
had enough money to buy himself a super plane and like tanks
and a bunch of armor.
Yeah, and a bunch of other shit.
So is Mero successfully establishing a new standard for culturally relevant journalism with this segment?
I don't feel like he's the only person that's ever done it. I mean, I feel like everybody that is a journalist at some point has to acknowledge somebody that's like an academics in their realm, because essentially they're in the same realm, except one is on the radio and one lives on the net. But Mero lives on both essentially, because of course he already had the show with him and Deezus. He has a show with him and Mello that exists online. They had the show on Vice, I think, or was that Showtime?
That was both.
Yeah, they had
okay.
Vice and Showtime.
So I mean, he's no stranger to this area, and I feel like what Mero is doing, I think that hasn't been done before, is somebody that has been successful online first before they became a radio host. So he's kind of unique in that lane in itself. But I don't feel like as somebody that's he's establishing a new standard as far as just talking about academics, so to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, we've held academics' feet to the fire.
Yeah,
sure.
There have been other rappers, other
Media.
influencers, like who've also, had similar things to say that Mero has kind of
He
expressed.
called him a fat hamster.
yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
Erykah Badu called him Jerry.
That's true.
Praying for you, Deezus.
Out here with the straight rodent references, but yeah, man. I mean, like, but some people say, hey, man, that's what comes with being success and having a light on you. There's people gonna be wanting to tear you down, and that's what the people who it probably stands for. DJ
Akademiks
would say. It's like, of course, like, look, he acknowledged you.
Do you agree with Mero's point that he's a net negative?
Yes.
Academics, yeah, absolutely.
For the most part, yeah.
Is there a positive?
Academics in Adam 22 are very similar.
Absolutely.
What are the positives from DJ Akademiks and what he does?
Positives? Playing video games?
Is that what he does?
Well, sometimes.
He needs to invest in a camera that doesn't look like shit.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
I don't
every
really
time
know.
I see his footage, I was like, you getting all this money? Like, you don't even look like you got
It's kind of like Joe Rogan
in a ring light.
That's true. Joe Rogan's isn't very good either.
I think it really plays into the allure of academics.
You think?
He's just like me. You know what I mean? He's got to set up just like me. I mean, I watched academics rise to ascension. You know what I mean? Like, first interview I saw, he was interviewing Charlemagne. He was kind of like a Charlemagne flunky. And then he grew and he started that
The
war on Chirac stuff, man, and that blew him up, man. And then he was,
which was to
the moon from there. Yeah.
Are there any positives? Do you see him in the current space?
It depends on how old you are.
Some of the stuff he did with Joe Budden wasn't bad.
That was great, actually.
It's a good contrast.
And it spoke to the difference of, like, we were from the Joe Budden era, and the Akademiks fans are from, that era. You know what I mean? So it was like the old man versus the young man. You know what I mean? It was something that was needed in this time. And unfortunately,
after that Migos interview, it was kind of like, nah, I'm cool. Ain't that what blew it up, essentially?
No, State of the Culture was
it kind of came out on hot from
Yeah.
the top.
I remember
I'm saying as far as blew it up, as far as it went away after the whole
I see.
Migos thing.
no, because they tried to put Star on there.
But that was terrible.
That didn't work. But I remember,
What's your guy?
what was it? What was it called?
What's State of the Culture?
State of the
Joe Budden on Revolt.
No, I'm talking about what was actually on. It came on every day. What was the thing?
Everyday struggle.
Everyday struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't think that, but everyday struggle. I mean, like, look, I remember that was appointment viewing for me.
It was.
Like, now
That's
part
true.
of it, I think I was unemployed at the time, so I could get up every morning and watch it. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I do want to check this out. It was almost like a hip hop Pardon the Interruption for a minute, you know. So I had appreciation for that until it wasn't a thing anymore.
Until
Even
he wasn't
when it
in
wasn't.
the passenger seat, then it all kind of made him just go all the way negative.
What's your guy's name, man? What's the dude that would filled in for Joe after Star left?
I don't know. I was literally just thinking that I can't think of.
Oh gosh,
I don't know.
Man, I can't.
Was it Mouse?
No, I can't. Oh man, I can't remember. Dude's
Yeah,
name,
after
man.
that, honestly, after Joe Budden left, I really
He was
didn't pay much
he
attention.
was Dave East manager.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I didn't watch it no more after Joe got off of it.
Wayno?
Wayno.
Wayno,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh no, that I watched it a little bit more, you know, because I F with Wayno, but like it still just was like Joe had a different energy when he would really call people, especially I remember when Yachty came on. Like
Yeah,
that was,
man.
I was like, he just had a different stance and morality
man.
to the things
Joe-
that he said. He wasn't just trying to interview people.
Joe is Joe, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking though, I can't. Number one, which I think is interesting, I don't know, and I've never met anybody that watches Akademiks outside of what you just said. You watch them sometimes. I don't know anybody. Maybe there are more people.
And they just don't talk to you about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
But I also don't. I can't think of any positives, and I'm trying to think of some. Like I think I don't know if there really are any. Like
I'm one that like to get several different viewpoints. So
maybe
watching
from that perspective.
yeah,
maybe.
watching Akademiks from time to time is like watching Fox News.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Newsmax.
yeah, you know what I mean?
I
Like
literally never watched news, man.
let me go over here and see. I've heard it from this point of view. Let me hear it from what's
The
going
Ricky
on
Lake
over here.
point of view.
Yeah, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see. I watch and listen to some of his takes. I never really agree with any of them.
mhm.
That's how I can say that is a net negative, essentially, as far as how I see things, and especially his contribution to hip hop or lack thereof. I don't feel like I'm kind of where Mero is. I feel like he hasn't added anything that if he disappeared from whatever genre we consider him as, that we're not missing anything.
Even
know
when
what
you
I'm
just
saying?
talk about content creation.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the definition of a culture vulture in a way.
Yeah. I mean, we've called him that too.
All right. Well, if you're out there and if you have some positives for us,
Yeah, if you're a fan of Akademiks,
tell us why.
Put us on
me to
game.
it, yeah.
You know, we could just be ignorant of what it is that he really brings to the game.
I do think the contrast. I think that is a good point. I mean, you're definitely going to get something. He's definitely like a Drake stan.
Mhm.
So you're going to get a different perspective on a
But
lot of
had
stuff.
more listens to Kendrick on his end of the year wrap up, which was
fair.
crazy.
It's fair. All right. Well,